Peace be with you. Welcome to the Institute of All Intelligent Life. My name is Alan Kiesler, and today is Friday, the 2nd of December, 2016. Juma Mubarak. So, I have had a request from a Sikh Facebook friend that he wants to hear me chanting the Mool Mantra. So as we begin this meditation of deep breathing and chanting the name of Allah, we will also chant the Mool Mantra, which is the main prayer or chant of the Sikh religion. So this is going to be an interesting class as we talk a little about Guru Nanak also. Guru Nanak, of course, did extraterrestrial travel. Maybe that's not well known to everybody, but that's recorded in the biographies about him. So we will begin by inhaling deeply. I will count 8 times the name of God as I inhale, and then 16 times as I exhale, deeply and slowly. Allah, 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 Allah. Allah, 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 Allah. Allah, 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 Allah. Simply by this deep breathing, the mind becomes calm and focused. And by chanting the names of God, our consciousness rises to the spiritual level, highest level. So we will recite now also, as I mentioned at the beginning of this class, the Mool Mantra. These are some verses of Guru Nanak. And this very powerful chant also. This is in Punjabi, so some of you may understand some of it, but it's in a other type of Punjabi than is spoken in modern Pakistan. A lot of words from Sanskrit background will be there that you may not understand, but I hope you enjoy this meditation also. Maybe I should explain for a minute. Ik Omkar, ik means one, and Omkar means God or Allah, the original source of everything and the ultimate goal of everything. So Guru Nanak used the word Ik Omkar as well as Vaheguru and many other names. He used the name of Allah. If you read the Guru Granth Sahib, the sacred scripture of the Sikhs, the name of Allah appears in there many, many times. Name of Ram, many different names of God. So, Ik Omkar is the way this begins. And Satnam, the true name of God, is the very second word of the Mool mantra is Sat Nam, or the second phrase, I guess. So we will begin. Please meditate on the sounds as I chant this, and I hope if he's not on right now that my sick friend will see this eventually. I haven't seen him coming on, but I did tell him I would be chanting this probably tomorrow morning in Pakistan. I will do more Sikh chanting, and that is this evening here. Okay. Ek Onkar Satnang Karta Purkh Nirbhav Nirvair Akala Murt Ajuni Sabhangur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Hai Bhi Sach Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. So, Ad Sach, that is talking about God or Allah from the beginning. From Ad means from the very beginning, the ancient time. Jugad Sach, He is the truth throughout the ages. Hai Bhi Sach, He is the truth now. Hosi Bhi Sach, and He will be the truth forever. So beautiful meditation on the Ik Onkar, Allahu. So this meditation brings our minds to a higher platform, which is really the goal of all life, human life and extraterrestrial life. And I mentioned yesterday, I mentioned recently, that our extraterrestrial friends, those who are from other planets, other star systems perhaps, who are coming and visiting us, they are also reminding us. They all believe in God. There may be very few exceptions, I don't know about them, but generally all the sources of information that I've come across that tell about extraterrestrials, they all understand that there is a supreme truth and that the ultimate goal of human life is to reconnect with that supreme truth, that Ik Omkar, as Guru Nanak called it. And by that meditation, our lives become purified, our lives become happy. And this is what we actually all want. So it doesn't matter what name of God we call. One of my favorite chants is Allahu, 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 oh my God. Allahu, 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 Ik Omkar. So this Ik Omkar, the one, Ik means one, the one supreme truth, source of everything, Allah or God, that is the worthy object of our meditation. That is the ultimate goal. And as we connect more with the supreme source of everything, we become situated in truth. Our minds become clear. Our lives become happy. And our hearts expand. As our hearts expand, we automatically start treating other people more kindly. And we realize they are also our selves. Everyone is different from us, not separate from us. We are all part of one absolute, unending, unlimited truth. But we're the tiny parts. We are tiny parts of God, and God is the supreme whole. But we're not separate from God. That is the teaching of Guru Nanak. Also, many great religious teachers have taught that we are inseparable from God. The example I've given before, so often given, of the sun and the sunshine. Just like the sun and the sunshine cannot be separated. The sunshine is the energy of the sun. So we are the energy of God. We are the creation of God, if you prefer to use that term. But the sunshine depends on the sun, but cannot be separated from it. So we are also depending upon God, but we cannot be separated from God. We have no existence or no meaning without God. Ik Om Gar. So, as I've said in the last few days, my class has taken a new turn where I'm not preparing anything, not preparing notes, not thinking in advance much what I'm going to say, although I did think I would, in response to that request I had, I would chant the Mool Mantra of Guru Nanak. So let us see what we will talk about today. I'll see first if there are any comments. I know it's not been very long yet, but we're doing something different. It's only been about 10 minutes. Oh, Facebook has sent me a message. This is your 100th broadcast. Okay. I guess this is my 100th live chat here, or live. Okay, let's see here. So we just have some comments like, how are you, or good evening. Of course, here it's good morning. If anybody has any particular questions, please, you can ask them, and I will make that the topic for today, because we don't have any topic yet. So let me meditate a little more, and maybe some idea will come to my mind of what we should discuss today. We will recite Durud Sharif, and we will meditate on the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. As we've been meditating a little on Guru Nanak, by hearing his words and hearing about him, we're meditating on him. So now we will visualize before our eyes, visualize standing before us, the Holy Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad, the most wonderful, kind, gracious personality. So we can visualize him smiling, his beautiful face, his green turban. That's the way I have seen him always. I always visualize him wearing a green turban. Very, very gentle person, very loving, very kind, with a broad forehead, dark eyes, very, very handsome face, dark beard, wearing a long white robe. So let us place that image before our eyes as we recite the Durud Sharif. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ala Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. Allahumma barak ala Muhammadin wa ala ala Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. Can you visualize? Can you tasavvur? It's not imagination. It's visualizing. Can you visualize the face of the Holy Prophet? His form in front of us, just standing in front, putting out his arms. He is so loving, putting out his arms to embrace us, greeting us, welcoming us, making us cheerful and happy that we are engaged in this beautiful, wonderful program of his, what we call Pakistan, the land of the pure. That is the program of the Holy Prophet for establishing peace and justice. That's my understanding anyway, that he is behind Pakistan and it is his plan. And I was just thinking, when I was reciting these verses from Guru Nanak, that his followers call their land Khalistan, right? You're probably familiar with that. Khalistan means Pakistan. Khalis means Pak, the very same, just a synonym. So the Sikhs also say their land is the land of the pure. Pakistanis also say their land is the land of the pure. So we're talking about the same land, right? Khalistan ya Pakistan, ek hi baat hai. This is the land where pure people gather, where pure people will come together and establish peace, love, honesty, justice, kindness, taking care of the poor and weaker elements of society, especially those people who need help. They are helped, especially widows and orphans, those who are sick, weak, elderly people who cannot take care of themselves very well. All these people are the focus of attention of Pakistan or of Khalistan, that they should be taken care of. This is the real human society. This is what the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, established in Medina. And that is what Pakistan is meant for also, to establish Pak Islam, pure Islam, love and care for each other, for everyone. And since I'm trying to always bring this back to the topic of extraterrestrials, since that's what this course is supposed to be about, but it was deviated, you might say, from my original intention or my idea about what the course would be about, because those extraterrestrial guides who have been helping me to understand this very, very important topic of people from other planets and how we as a race, the human race, can prepare ourselves to receive them with open arms and establish our friendship and our oneness with all the other civilizations on other planets also. So those people, our friends, our extraterrestrial friends, they have been encouraging all of us also to open our hearts, to be kind and loving with each other and with them, and ultimately to move towards God, to open our hearts and receive the light of God in our lives. That light is love. That light is joy. So, I'm going to look again to see if we have any good comments or questions here. Because like I said, I haven't planned any topic. All right, Shabana Ali says, do you think there are some hidden portals to higher dimensions or civilizations in Pakistan? Oh, very good question. I've never thought about this before, frankly, but it makes sense to me, yes. There are portals in many places. Our planet is a very specially blessed place where there are more portals than there are on most planets. And I wouldn't be at all surprised. Whether there are or not, it really doesn't make that much difference, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if there are portals, stargates, to other dimensions in Pakistan. Yes, I would guess there are. Sorry, I can't tell you anything more because I've never heard about that or studied it, but it's a very good question. Perhaps you know of some. Perhaps you have experienced some. I think actually these portals, there are two types of portals. There are natural portals that exist from the creation of the planet, I guess. For a long time, these portals have been in different places. I know there are some in Iraq, for example. There very famous portals were there, which may be one reason why America was invading Iraq, besides the oil, was to get control of those portals. But there are portals in many different places. So there may be some in Pakistan also. But in addition to those natural portals, portals can be created. And actually, I just realized something. There definitely is a portal in Pakistan because I've been through it. I've not told that story in great detail, but when I visited Pakpatan, this was in 1984, I actually went into another dimension when I was there. I was transported. I didn't know it. I didn't know what was happening. But I entered into another dimension right there in the courtyard of the shrine of Baba Farid Ganj Shakar. So, yes, there are portals in Pakistan. Now, whether that is a natural portal or whether that portal was created as a result of Baba Farid being there, I don't know. Maybe his settling there was because there already was a portal there, or maybe because of his own presence there, that portal developed. But definitely there is a portal at Pakpatan, and I've been through it. I was transported out of this dimension into another dimension in Pakpatan. Someday I'll tell that story. Maybe I'll tell it now, since I don't have anything else to talk about. And you've asked about, this is a very, very interesting story. Quite a long story, but we have time, so okay. This was not my plan to tell this story, but maybe I'm supposed to. So I have told a little bit about this story in this class once, I think, as I recall. I began the story, but I didn't go into all the great details of it. So now I'll go into more details. This begins in Lahore. In December of 1984, I was traveling from Lahore to Karachi by train, and when I got on the train in Lahore, a young man sat beside me, and we had some small talk. We just, how are you? What is your name? Where are you from? Things like that. We were speaking in Urdu. I think he did not know English, but as you know, I know English. I know Urdu well. So हम बात कर रहे थे उर्दू में. आप कैसे हैं? ठीक ठाक? कहाँ से हैं? वगैरह. And then at one point he suddenly stopped. And he looked, his expression changed and the tone of his voice changed. And he said, please forgive me. And he seemed to be indicating somehow something strange. He said, but I have to tell you something. मुझे आपको कुछ बताना है. माफ करें. अगर आप सुनना चाहते हैं, मैं आपको कुछ बताऊं. Shall I tell you something? So it was very strange. So I said, okay. So he began, then I think he even pointed up in the sky at some point. He pointed upwards and he said, you can meet the great Sufis. And if you'd like to meet them, I can teach you how. So because of the tone of his voice and the expression on his face, I began thinking, this guy is crazy. I began thinking he's maybe mentally disturbed or something, because he did not seem to be talking very naturally. So I said, okay, but I indicated by my facial expression that I was kind of put off by what he was saying, how he was talking. So he picked up on that immediately, so he just became silent. And then I began thinking, because at that time in my life I was going through a lot of difficulties, changes, and I was praying a lot, asking for guidance. And I felt like I needed some guidance. And then suddenly I realized, what am I doing? I've been praying for guidance, for some guide, for some master to teach me, to help me, to guide me, because I feel like I need that. And here somebody is coming and telling me he can introduce me to a great Sufi, great Sufis, and I'm thinking he's crazy. So I said to him, oh, please forgive me that I didn't respond more positively to you. Please, yes, I do want to hear what you have to say. So then he went on and started describing how there are great Sufis and they're actually available today. They're still living. That I don't remember all the details, exactly the history or the timeline of how this all happened, but he told me that his murshid, his teacher, was a disciple of Lal Shahbaz Qalandar, who famous Sufi who lived hundreds of years ago. So he intrigued me further like that, and we had a very nice talk. He talked more about Sufism and Sufi masters, and eventually the train reached to Multan, where he was going, where he lived, and so he gathered his things and he got off the train, said goodbye to me, and I was going to Karachi, and I actually did not have money with me. I had very little money, so I didn't have money to buy another ticket to Karachi. So I thought I have to go to Karachi, where I was living. And I suddenly thought, wait a minute, I may never meet him again. I hadn't gotten his address. I don't remember his name now. I'm sure he told me his name, but I suddenly thought I may lose this opportunity to meet some great Sufi master. So I said, wait a minute, wait. And I immediately grabbed my bag and I jumped out of the train behind him, and I said, I'm coming with you. Just on the spur of the moment like that, I decided, setting aside all risks and worries about money. So we went to his house. This was in the evening then. We had gotten on the train in the later afternoon or early evening, and so now it was late. So we went to his little one-room house, one-room apartment. And he said, in the morning we will go to visit some Sufi shrines. So we did. In the morning, after having a little breakfast, we went to Shah Rukn-e-Azam. I think that's the right pronunciation, right name, Shah Rukn-e-Alam. Anyway, he was the son, I think, of Bahauddin Zakriya. So he said, first we have to go here, and we went to his shrine, which is on a hill in Multan, very famous, just near the shrine of Bahauddin Zakriya Sahib. So when we got there, as many of you may know, outside these shrines there are a lot of people selling things, and so he bought some incense and some flower garlands and some white sweets, patasha, as I remember the name is. And he said, now we will go inside the shrine and offer the incense, light it and put it there, and put the garland on the shrine grave, and then distribute some of these sweets to the people who are visiting, and then we will sit and meditate. So we did all that, and then we sat, and he said, just sit here. So we did, and after some time, I don't know how long it was, 15-20 minutes maybe more, he tapped me on the shoulder and he made a motion like this, come outside. So we went out, and then he asked me, did you see anything? I said no. Did you feel anything? Yes, I felt a great peace. And he said, very good. We go on. We went to Bahauddin Zakriya Sahib's shrine nearby, and we did the same thing, purchasing the incense and flower garlands and the sweets, and then we lit the incense, put it there near the grave, and put the flower garlands on the grave, and then sat, distributed the sweets, and sat and meditated again. Same thing, 15-20 minutes. I don't know, you lose sense of time. It was at least 10 or 15 minutes, definitely, maybe half an hour. And then again he tapped me on the shoulder and indicated to me, come outside. We did, and he again asked me, did you see anything? I said no. Did you hear anything? I said no. Did you feel anything? Yes, I said. I felt, wow, wonderful feeling of peace and course, maybe it was from the incense, but like a fragrance, a spiritual fragrance. And so he said, "Oh, very good." So then he said, "Now we'll go on." So it was a little distance away. We went to the shrine of a small shrine, not big like Baba. The shrine was very small, but it was not big like Bahauddin Zakariya's, very huge, and Shah Ruknuddin's shrine, very large shrines. This was quite a small shrine, and it was for another Sufi saint. I don't know why. I can't remember the name right now. Let me think a second, it will come back to me. Shams. Baba Shams. So that shrine is there in Multan. Of course, I was familiar with Shamsuddin, Jalaluddin Rumi's Murshid. So I was wondering, is this the same Shams? But I didn't think his shrine was in Pakistan. I thought it was somewhere, but really we don't know where it is, maybe in Turkey or... But anyway, so we went to that shrine, and the same thing there. We purchased the incense and the flower garland and the little white sugar sweets, and lit the incense, placed it there in the shrine, put the flower garlands on the grave, and distributed those sweets. And then he said, "This time we will sit and meditate, and I would like you to chant Allah Shams, Allah Shams, Allah Shams," like that. Previously he had not told me what to say while we were meditating, but this time he said, "Repeat that." So I said, okay. So we sat down, and after doing the same thing as in the other shrines, we sat and began meditating, and I was repeating Allah Shams, 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 like that. And again, how long? 15 minutes. Just repeating like that over and over again, and I felt very peaceful, very happy, very wonderful feeling. And then quite suddenly, before me, like it was just in front of me, some distance, a little bit above, maybe like it was, a couple of meters, 5 or 10 feet away, I saw these 2 feet, beautiful golden feet. And I was just looking at them because they were so lovely, so attractive, that beautiful 2 feet. So I just continued, Allah Shams, Allah Shams, Allah Shams, and looking at those feet. And then after some time, again, that young man tapped me on the shoulder, and this time he pointed to somebody who was seated on the other side of the grave in the shrine. He was sitting there. He looked like he could have been a Multani businessman, but quite fair-skinned, slender, very, good-looking, maybe in his 30s. He was wearing a sort of jacket, a sort of sports jacket, maybe a tweed jacket, brownish, tannish color. And then he got up. That man who was sitting on the other side of the shrine stood up. He was, that is, the door was behind us, and he was on the other side. So as he got up and walked he passed right beside me. And as he walked by me, I looked at his feet, and I was shocked. Those are the very feet that I just saw in my meditation. Wow. And it took me a second to wait, what's going on here? And then I thought, I've got to talk to him. I better meet him. And so I immediately got up and walked behind him, only 5 or 6, 7 steps behind him. He went out of the shrine, down some steps to the courtyard, and there was a little mosque, very, very small mosque, outside there in the courtyard, and he went into that mosque. So I followed him quickly, right, short ways behind him, not more than, 10 or 15 feet, a few meters behind him. And when I got into the mosque, there was nobody there. It was empty. I was surprised, what has happened? There was no big window he could have climbed out of. There was I didn't see any other way he could have gotten out except for that one door that we had just walked in. And I was astonished that I couldn't see him. So I went back to that young man who had brought me there, and I said, "What's going on?" He said, "What's wrong? What happened?" I said, "Well, I followed him. You saw me following him. I went into the mosque right behind him, and when I got in there, he wasn't there. Nothing was there. Nobody was there." And he just said, "Oh yes, they do that. They do that all the time." I said, "What? They do what?" He said, "They travel." He probably went to Mecca or Medina, and he said in 1 second they reached there. So I was quite astonished. But I believed him. I'd heard of this sort of thing happening before, where mystics or yogis, they can transport themselves. Teleportation, we call it now. It's not uncommon. Even, the intelligence agencies and the secret space program, they do the same thing now. Instant transportation from one place to a distant place. So these Sufis have been doing that for a long time. So he was not at all surprised by that. So I said to him, "All right, I believe that." I was a little bit skeptical. I was thinking, could it be that there was some trapdoor in there somewhere, and they knew that they can trick people like this and, impress them by disappearing. So that thought was there in my mind, but I thought, no, how could he have put his feet into my mind? That didn't seem to be so easy to hoax somebody to do that. So I said, okay, I will accept. So he said, "Let us go meet my murshid." So he took me to the bungalow where his murshid was living, and he told me a little more details about his teacher, who he said had been living in the desert for 40 years. For 40 years he had been in the desert practicing meditation, and his murshid, who was a great Sufi saint who had lived hundreds of years earlier and used to visit him regularly. And he said his murshid had told him that now, that is after 40 years of meditating in the desert, you should leave the desert, you should go to Multan, you should get married, and you should become a teacher there yourself. And that's how this young man had met him, and he was taking me to see this man who was obviously not an ordinary person to have meditated for 40 years. I mean, he was eating and everything, living, but very, very simple life it must have been, living out in the desert somewhere. And so we got to the bungalow, and when we came into the courtyard, this man was sitting there, surrounded by 5 or 6, evidently, disciples who he was talking to. And so I offered my respects to him, and he was looking at me and so inquired, so he could tell, of course, I was a foreigner. So he asked me how I was, where I was from, and I told him that I was very much in need of a spiritual guide, and I hoped he would become my teacher. So then he said to me, okay, take off your coat. This was Multan in December. It was very, very cold. So I was wearing a lot of warm clothing. So I took off my coat. Underneath I had a jacket. He said, take off your jacket. Okay, I removed my jacket, handed it to him. Then I had like a shirt, warm shirt. So he said, take off your shirt. So I did. Then take off your undershirt. Or maybe there was a sweater on there also. I can't remember, at least 4 or 5 different pieces of clothing I had. So then I was bare-chested. And then he asked me, are you feeling cold? Thand lag raha? And I said, no, I was surprised. It was very, very close to freezing temperature. It was by this time it was evening, it was night by this time, because we had spent the whole day going to these shrines and talking then. So finally, when I said I was shocked myself, I wasn't feeling cold at all. I was wearing a watch. He said, "Give me your watch." So I handed my watch to him. And we continued talking a little bit when I heard a voice behind me, and above me somewhere, a little back there, I heard a voice which said, "Sammasata, Sammasata." Like that, it repeated twice. So I turned around to look, who was that saying this? And there was nobody there. So I turned back around and everyone was looking at me. What am I doing? And I said, "What was that? Who was that?" And they said, "What?" And I said, "You didn't hear that?" They all said, "No." They said, "What did you hear?" I said, "Sammasata, Sammasata." And then they all went, "Oh, Baba," I don't remember his name now, some great Sufi shrine is there. Some great Sufi saint had lived in Sammasata and his shrine was there. So they said, "Oh, his name," something like that. So then we were talking a little more about Sufis and Sufism, and I was a little confused as to how I could hear this and nobody else could hear it. And then I heard again the very same tone of voice, same coming from the same place behind me, "Bak Batan, Bak Batan," again repeated twice. So again I turned around, looked, where is this coming from? And I couldn't see anybody. So I was worried, what's going on here? So again the same thing happened. They said, "What happened?" And I said, "Didn't you hear that?" They all said, "No." And I said, "I heard Bak Batan, Bak Batan." And then they all went, "Oh, Baba Farid, Baba Farid." They all went like that. Oh. So again, my mind immediately, a little bit of doubt was there. Are they trying to trick me, trying to fool me? They have somebody hidden up there saying like this, and they're pretending that they don't hear it, because it was very clear, it was quite loud. I could hear it very clearly, but they all said they could not hear it. So anyway, I was a little bit, I don't know, I was definitely, something was happening to me by all of these things. And then that Murshid said to me, "Take your watch." He handed me, "Well, my watch?" I put it back on. And then he handed me my undershirt, banyan, escolilo, pano. So I put my t-shirt, he handed me my shirt, I put it back on. He handed my sweater, I put it back on. He handed my jacket, I put it back on. He handed me my coat, I put it back on. And then he said, "I cannot teach you. I cannot teach you anything. Go." Just like that. He said, "Go, leave." And I said, "Wait, I've spent the whole day, and finally I found you, please, He said, "No, go." Just like that. It was an order. So I had accepted him as my murshid. And my murshid is telling me to go, so I have to go. So I left. I picked up my things. I walked to the railway station, which was not that far away. Oh, no, I think in the course of the conversation, he had learned what was going on. And I thought, it's just, the next day I can probably get by with using the same train ticket. So I got to the train station. Now it was late at night. And as it turned out, the Tezgam, which was at that time the fastest express train in Pakistan, was just arriving. So I got on the train. It was very crowded, third class. I was going third class. And there was actually no room, no chairs, no seats available, and people were standing even, people were sitting on the ground. So I managed to find a little place to put I had a little like briefcase and small suitcase, so I just sat on it, sitting there on the floor. And after some time, a kind man who was lying on one of the berths, the upper berths, he said, I have been resting for some time, and I see you're tired, so you can rest here. So I said, no. He said, no, you must. So I said, thank you very much. So I climbed up on that berth and laid down and went to sleep. I had a little chadar, I think, that I used, and fell fast asleep, because I had been all day long. We had been talking and walking and going to these shrines. It was quite intense. And then, of course, we had met this man, and I'd gone through that intense experience, so I was really exhausted, and I fell fast asleep very quickly. After some time, I heard this commotion. Tez gaam nu ki hue? Sust gaam ban gaye. What is this tez gaam? This fast train has become the slow train, the lazy train. Evidently, the train had stopped, and it was sitting here in this place for a long time and wasn't going. And somebody came and said, I spoke to the engineer, the signal is green, but the train won't move. The engineer says he can't get the engine to start. So everyone was talking, complaining like this. So I was still tired, so I went back to sleep. I thought, anyway. And then something occurred to me. And I asked, what station is this? Where are we? And somebody said, this is Samasata. So I said, oh. And then I thought of the story of Jonah. You know the story of, I don't remember, in Urdu Arabic, Jonah is Yehuna or something like that. He was ordered by God to go to Nineveh to preach to the people there, and he didn't want to do it, so he took a boat going the opposite direction. There was a big storm, and the boat was about to be submerged, and so everybody on board decided there must be somebody who's not supposed to be here. So they drew lots, and it fell on Jonah, so they threw him overboard, and he was swallowed by a big fish, and that fish took him and dumped him there in Nineveh, so on the beach there. So I thought, oh, maybe I'm that person who's not supposed to be on the train here. So I got off immediately, and just as soon as my foot touched the ground, just as I was getting off, the train started moving. So I said, yes, I was supposed to get off here. So I went, the station was empty, it was the middle of the night. There was a chaiwala there, a tea shop man. I asked him, is there some shrine, Sufi shrine here? He said, yes, but it's quite a distance away, quite a few kilometers away, and you can take a tonga in the morning. It's not safe, actually, he said, to go there at night, so you can just wait till the morning. So there was a bench there. He said, go, you can rest on the bench. And in the morning, I was awakened by somebody asking the chaiwala, has the train to Pakpatan left yet? The tea shop man said, no, it's late. It hasn't come. But look, there it is, it's coming now. So the train to Pakpatan was just arriving. So I thought, oh, Pakpatan, maybe I'm supposed to go to Pakpatan. So this was a very slow train. It took the whole day. I went and got a ticket, and we spent the whole day, stopped at every single station, waited a half an hour in some stations. Finally, in the late afternoon, we reached Pakpatan. There the shrine was very near to the railway station, so I got off and walked to the shrine. There I did the same thing we had done in Multan, bought some incense and flower garlands and pratasha and lit the incense, put the flower garland on the shrine, the grave of Baba Farid, and distributed the sweets to the visitors, and then I sat to meditate. And after some time I heard a voice very clearly in my heart, just go sit out underneath a big tree in the courtyard there and meditate. And when you open your eyes, the person you are waiting for will be sitting there in front of you. I heard it very clearly in my head, in my heart. So I thought, okay. So I went out in the courtyard. There was this huge, big peepal tree, banyan tree. So I just sat right down at the base of that tree, closed my eyes, began meditating. Again, 15, 20 minutes after some time, I felt, okay, I opened my eyes, and there was this very interesting, quizzical, I would say, very strange, almost looking man, elderly gentleman with a long, white, thin beard. Looked like he was maybe Central Asian, slightly even. And I immediately, he again, surrounded by 5 or 6, evidently disciples, he was talking with them. So I immediately just fell down, prostrate on the ground, and I grabbed his feet. And he kind of looked at me. When I looked up, he was looking at me like this, like, what are you doing? And I explained to him that I needed a spiritual guide, and I hoped he would accept me as his disciple. And we were talking again in Urdu. And he said, well, have you had anything to eat? And I suddenly realized I have not eaten anything all day. And in fact, the previous day I had hardly eaten anything. We had a breakfast in the morning and maybe a little bit, but I hadn't, so I should be really hungry, but I hadn't even thought about it because my mind was sort of totally in some other place. I'd spent the whole day on the train coming from Samasata just praying, meditating, and in a state of almost confusion, you can say, but hopefulness and anticipation and totally. And so he said, okay, go get something to eat. And there was a young man sitting beside him. He said, take him to eat something. So I said, actually, because I was a vegetarian, I said, well, actually, I'm a vegetarian. He said, no, we don't have any meat here in our food. So I was surprised. And actually, I was very strict with my diet. I would not eat any onions or garlic either. So I told him, मैं लहसुन प्याज भी नहीं खाता हूँ, माफ करें. He said, नहीं, हम लहसुन प्याज इस्तेमाल नहीं करते. We don't use any onion or garlic in our food here. That totally shocked me, because I'd never heard of that in Pakistan. But anyway, that's what he said. So the young man took me, and we went around to the back of the shrine, and there was large pots were cooking, and so he gave me some rice and dal and some vegetables, and there was some sweet also, and very delicious, very satisfying meal, and there were no onions or garlics in that. And so after I had finished, the young man took me back, and we met this man, and he told me he is Baba Ali. He told me his name is Baba Ali, and he is in charge of this shrine. So I was very eager now I found my murshid who will solve my problems that I've been struggling with for so long. So we went back, and he was sitting there. So again we spoke some more, and he started talking about Islam, the great teaching, and then he asked me where I was from. I said, well, I'm living in Karachi. I'm from USA, but I'm staying in Karachi now. And then he asked me why I had come to him, and I said, well, I had a murshid. I had a teacher who had passed away some years in 1977, so that means 7 years earlier. And I said, in his absence, I'm feeling the need for spiritual guidance, spiritual guide. So I was praying and praying for somebody to come to guide me. And he said, you have a teacher already? I said, yes, but he passed away 7 years ago, and since then I really have been floundering and feel like I need guidance. And he immediately said, no. Oh, he asked me, what is his name? I said, Prabhupada. And he said, does he have a followers in Karachi? You can stay with them? He said, Kanka, actually. I said, yes, he has followers there. I stay with them. He said, go back. Go to them. Go to Karachi. I was very, very disappointed. Because here now I've spent 2 days looking, and finally I found him. And now he's telling me to, he said, don't worry. He said, you don't need any more guidance. Your teacher will guide you. I said, how? He said, he will appear to you in dreams, or he will speak to you. You don't need any more than one teacher. He will be your teacher. So I couldn't accept. I started arguing with him again, but finally he became very firm. He said, it's getting cold now, it's getting late. You can go, he said, you can catch a bus from here to Harappa, and then from there you can catch the train back to Karachi. Go now. So I didn't have any choice. Again, I bowed down, I grabbed his feet, I said, you're my murshid, and he's ordering me to leave. So very, very morose. I was very, very sad that I had to leave him. But I did, and I did catch the bus to Harappa, and using the same ticket again, I thought, because I didn't have enough money to buy a new ticket to Karachi, I went to Karachi. So I thought the next time I go to Pakpatan, I'll meet him again, because I didn't have so much time. So I went back, the next time I got the chance, within a year or two, I went back to Pakpatan and I looked for him, and nobody had ever heard of Baba Ali. I was confused. I said, he's in charge of this shrine. Never heard of him, don't know. I asked several people. I didn't have much time, so I had to go. I think I was going to Lahore. So I said, next time I get the chance, I'm going to set aside a day or two, as much time as I need to find out this Baba Ali. So I left. When I came back the next chance, the same thing happened. I met many people at the shrine. Everybody told me they never heard of any Baba Ali as being in charge of this shrine. So then I started realizing there was a portal there. I went through into another dimension, that Baba Ali was a real person, but he wasn't living in this dimension. Somehow I had been shifted in through a portal. So there is a portal there in Pakpatan Sharif. All right, I think we'd better end because I've gone on for a long time. Let's see, what time is it? Oh my goodness, it's been almost an hour. Anyway, let me just see if there's any questions or comments I can answer quickly. I can't spend much time because Shah Rukn Alam, yes, was that first. Zahid Iqbal says, I belong to Bahauddin Zakriya Rahmatullah family. Talk in Urdu now. ठीक है, अभी मैं थोड़ा उर्दू में बात करूँगा. Peshawar, Multan Sharif. May I ask you something? हाँ, पूछ लो. Nice to see you. Where are you standing? मैं तो एस्पार्टो कैलिफोर्निया में अपने घर में है. अंदर है, लेकिन हम ये मेरी बेगम ये लगाती है घर के अंदर भी शब्द. We are alive in a virtual reality. That's actually not a reality. Naeem Haider says. हाँ, ये मैं इसको भी मानता हूँ. ये भी जहाँ हम रह रहे हैं, ये भी एक virtual reality है, एक hologram जैसे. और साइंसदान भी इस बात को मान रहे हैं अभी. Okay. Thank you for sharing your story. Shabana Ali says, thank you for hearing it. Okay, we will have our prayer meeting, and I'm going to recite more for my Sikh friends' benefit. That is this evening here, tomorrow morning in Pakistan, 6:30 a.m. in Pakistan time, 7 a.m. in India. I've told that gentleman to please tune into my Facebook page then, so he can be live. Hope he'll be there live tonight, tomorrow morning your time. in Pakistan and India. So I hope he will come on and maybe make some comments about my chanting of Guru Nanak's Mool Mantra. Okay. May God protect us all. Thank you all very, very much. Allah Hafiz.